Alright, so we made it out here to the Children's Museum. Let me show you real quick. There you go. So we'll see how bad this aquarium is looking. I'm kind of a little bit worried, but you know, we'll find out together. So let me get in here and then we'll take a look at it. Alright, so I'm in here now. Yeah, I can see why they've been by sad. Let me turn this around so you guys can see. All right, so it looks like I'm having a big issue with hair algae, but there's also a little bit of algae on the glass. So this would be perfect because I'll be able to test out that new scraper that I got. Water flow seems to be pretty good, so the canister filter is probably still good. I'd hate having to pop them open, but here's what some of that hair algae is looking like. So I got to remove some of that. You can see it on some of the driftwood here. So I am going to have my work cut out for me today. Here's a better take of it. So I guess this will be the before, and then we'll do the after. The fish are looking fine, but I get it. It is looking a little sad. Let me zoom out so you guys can see the entire thing. So that's what it is right there. We'll go ahead and deal with that, and we'll take care of it right now. All right. So before I start doing any water changes, I want to go ahead and address some of the algae issues. I'm gonna put this here for right now. So I'm gonna take my brush, and I'm gonna start brushing some of this stuff off of here, and hopefully be able to remove most of it. All right, yeah, it's coming off pretty good. It's a lot of hair algae. I guess this is one of the learning curves when you start using some of those enriched soils, is trying to find that balance. Wow, that's a lot of hair algae. Actually, this is almost like black beard algae. That's how thick and fibrous this feels. This doesn't feel like hair algae. So much of it. But it is. I mean, let me find something to put this on so that I can continue to work. Yeah, but let me show you. So this is some of the stuff. It is hair algae. I just never. It is real fibrous. But it's coming off pretty easy. So it's not like the blackbeard algae where I would have to scrape it off. So let me go grab something real quick, and I'll be right back. I got something I can put this on so it's not laying everywhere. Alright, let's continue to address this. Got a little bit of paper towel so that I can put some of this stuff on there. I think I'm going to have to actually scrub some of these branches just to make sure that I can remove a lot of this hair algae. Usually the twisting and turning of your cleaning utensil will help you pull a lot of that hair algae off. But I think I'm going to actually have to do a little bit more and actually manually get in there and address some of that. This is the only thing that is pretty bad about not having. It's like when you don't have the aquarium in your house, you're actually looking at it every day, and have access to be able to stay on top of that maintenance. I think I need to step up my commitment and coming in a few more times. I thought it was at the point now where I could come in like once every 2 weeks, but there's obviously still a lot of excess nutrients in the water, so I'm gonna have to stay more on top of this. Look at all this hair algae. Wow. Yeah, I can. For a display tank, you definitely don't want this to be happening. Which is unfortunate. It's a little bit of slack on my part, so I need to pick that up and stay on top of this. All right, so there we go. I'll probably have to trim some of these leaves, especially the ones that have a lot of the algae on them. But here we go. Just make quick work of that. A lot of this stuff is. Let me get the camera so you guys can see this. Here's what's going on. Is all this top part here. See, it's all full of hair algae. So I got to remove all this stuff. Fortunately, this stuff, if you kind of tug on it, it'll come off relatively easy. But that's kind of, let me put this back up. I need both of my hands. I'm setting it all up. Here's this stuff that you guys can see. So let me put you guys back over here. Also, I need to address all this issue in here. This is really have a lot of it. I removed a lot of it, but you can still see some in there. So what I'll do, I'll take the razor blade and I'll go in there and scrape off as much as I can off of that and try to remove that stuff off of there. So let me continue to do this. All right. So yeah, that's just, you know, I need to increase my intervals of coming out here and not waiting so long if I want to stay on top of this stuff. That's one of the, somebody was asking me the other day, how come you don't run a cleaning business service? Well, because it's a job. And unless you're going to do this full time, I wouldn't recommend taking on more than maybe 1 or 2 places that you want to do service on. I'm constantly getting asked on Facebook and stuff like that, people that know that I've set this aquarium here, if I would be interested in doing the maintenance on their aquariums. Well, if I was doing this as a full-time kind of gig, that would be great. But the reality is, I have a full-time job and I have a family. And I like to spend time with my family. And so if I commit to trying to do more than what, as you guys can see, I'm obviously not even able to keep up with this. If I was to take on more clients, that would be a real issue, you know. That's quickly how you start building a bad reputation, is by not following through with what you're supposed to be doing. It looks like I got most of the stuff up here, large part of it, but you guys can see the valve's getting really, really long, and it's laying over the top. So I think I'm gonna have to trim a lot of this. It'll allow the light to get down to some of the, look, you can see by me moving this, how much brighter it's getting in here. So I need to be able to do some of that. This looks like almost blackbeard algae, as tough as this is. But no, it's filament algae. This Anubias is just having a hard time with it. I might have to consider moving this to a place where it's a little bit more shaded, so that it's not. Yeah, this is blackbeard algae on the Anubias. I don't know. I might have to trim some of these leaves because it's getting real bad. This is why, I mean, as nice as these plants look, you got to be able to do. They're more of a low light plant, and if you don't stay on top of the water changes, all those excess nutrients will help that blackbeard algae to grow on these things. Looks like I'm able to scrape some of it off the leaves. Hopefully that'll help the plant, because these were covered up pretty bad. This doesn't. This looks. You can see some of the green now. I might have to trim some of these leaves eventually. I just really, I have no excuse. I need to come up here and do this a little bit more often. But you know, it is what it is. I haven't done my part. So there. All right, let me get rid of this stuff here. All right, I come over here and grab a couple of towels to be able to use them as a place to put stuff on there. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to take my razor blade and start scraping some of the trunks in here where you have some of that blackbeard algae. So what I'm going to do is I do have this one, the one that I was talking about, the long handle blade. I'm going to go ahead and remove this off of here. Get the blade out. And I'm going to use this blade here and come in here and start scraping some of these areas to try to remove that excess blackbeard algae on here. And hopefully address some of this issue here. I know it's going to put out a lot of debris in here, but remember, I got to do a big, massive water change on this. So I'm not too concerned about all of this stuff going in there. So I just want to try to get as much of this stuff scraped off. I mean, I could potentially also just drain it, use hydrogen peroxide to address some of this stuff, but this has been working so far. You can see some of the areas that I have addressed in the past, and I haven't had to grow back. So I'll just continue to do this and scrape it off. It's no big deal. I think this is a little bit safer without having to introduce anything into this aquarium. Problem with peroxide that I've heard is that if you use too much, it could be counterproductive because it'll remove some of the, I guess, oxygen molecules from the water, because that's what's happening is you're having the hydrogen bond get separated. That's why you see the bubbles. As far as I understand it, I'm not a scientist, and but in my limited understanding, that's what's supposed to be happening. So anybody that's a little bit savvier and smarter when it comes to science might say, you're full of it. That's not what's going on. So, but to avoid that, because all this is just a little bit more manual work, it's not that bad. Eventually, this aquarium is going to reach its balance point. And once it does that, you're going to have this a lot less of an issue. The excess nutrients won't be available, so these algae will not be able to thrive. The museum just opened up. We're starting to have some of the kids come in here. So probably what's going to happen is I'll have to turn the video off, and I'll just kind of show to you guys the final outcome. But you get a pretty good idea of what I'm doing for the maintenance on this. You kind of got a good idea what it looked like. So with that being said, let me turn this off, because I don't think I have permission to film any of these kids anyways. So alright, so I've been able to get most of the stuff off the branches. Water's a little bit murky because of everything that I've been agitating. I'm going to go ahead and try that that cleaner, the algae scraper on the glass right now, and see how that's going to work out. Let me go ahead and get it out of the box. I'm starting to think that it might be a little bit of a problem here, just because those limbs do come close to the glass, and I don't think this has a profile that's slim enough to be able to get by it, but we'll see right now. So let me go ahead and get this up and ready. I'm just going to use right now just the scraper itself. We're going to use it that way, see what happens. Hopefully I don't need to use the glass side of it. So the idea is that this should help you remove a lot of this stuff. And it, you know, a lot of this is like diatom algae, so it shouldn't have a whole lot of problems. But this is what I like. I have a little bit more maneuverability around it. I can, oh yeah, looks like it is going to be able to, wow, for the most part. These are things that I wouldn't be able to do with that extender. It didn't allow me to get this close to these areas. So this is actually working out really good. I'm very happy with it. It's allowing me to get around some of these hard to reaches. You see, those are the things you got to be careful with. What I just did there, if you see, it picked up some rocks, and that's not what you want, because that'll scratch your glass really, really bad. So just make sure you're cognizant of that, so you don't have those mishaps. So I think as far as being able to scrape some of this stuff, I am very pleased. It's making my maintenance on here a lot easier. And it's okay. This is where I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Let's try this back area. I didn't really think this out too much when I was setting this up, but I think it's just narrow enough. I mean, I have enough space in the back of the aquarium now where it looks like I am going to be able to get back in there. Now, how low am I going to be able to get down on this is a different question. And then how far I'm going to be able to get in there. I'm going to have to switch the camera position because I think I'm just blocking your entire view. So let me do the front view of this so that you guys can see what it is that I'm working on. And you know, I think this is going to allow me to have a little bit more access than what I was having before. I think I still going to have to use the wand to be able to get in much deeper, but that'll be interesting. I think for the most part it's actually serving its purpose, what I wanted it to do. But because my arm's a lot wider than the gap in the back, that's where I'm kind of running into an issue. But that's pretty good though. Let me go ahead and remove that from there. Let's see how it does in the front. Let me see. Let me back you guys up a little bit so that you guys can see what's going on. It's really getting busy now. Had a little girl come up and ask me what I was doing. Oops, that's not good. Well, I just clipped a tip off the yep. Oh well. Maybe it'll self-correct. Alright. Make sure I don't have anything caught in between though. It's a little bit wider there. You can see how it lifted. The magnet lifted the branch a little bit. So I got to be careful. I just can't go nilly-willy with it. It looks like it fit in there. The depth perception is a little bit tricky. There we go. I think it's, other than that part right here, it's actually allowed me to come in everywhere. I'm pretty happy. I mean, this is really working well. It's making quick work of this. I like the fact that I can get down here low. Oops, too low that I moved the rocks. I can get down in here low and be able to scrape that. But I still have to, there's going to be places where I'm going to have to need that wand. Those really hard to reach places. But let me come around. It's loosening up all this stuff where it's going to allow me right now when I do the water change to be able to remove a lot of that debris. And I think I'm gonna have to do more than one water change in this just to address a lot of those issues. But yeah, you know what? Is this any less than the flipper scraper that I have that cost me like 3 times as much as this one? I am very pleased. It's doing everything that it's supposed to do. Let me bring you guys around. I just pinched my finger. My thumb, actually, not my finger. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that there. But, see, there's, I don't know if you can pick it up on my hand, but there's some spring spot algae on the glass that I'm going to try to remove. Ow, wow, this is really stuck. Well, I know why they give you that pad. This thing is almost impossible to remove if you let that Velcro. I made the mistake of letting them come together, and it's a lot. I mean, I really gotta work this. That was not smart. I should have not let. It's because what happens is you got that Velcro grabbing onto it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this off. Wow, that's not good. Let me see. I know you're supposed to twist this, but that Velcro. Hold on, let me pause this. I got to deal with this. Alright, so I made the stupid mistake of allowing those magnets to come together, and with the Velcro on there, typically those magnets you rotate to separate them. I can't do that because the Velcro is stuck under so well. So I need to go home, take some a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and try to pry it off of there very carefully so that I don't damage the lining. But I'm gonna have to go back to my true and tried algae scraper. Fortunately, this is a pretty open area, and I can use this one here. But you know, this is an operator error. The reason I'm not using that magnet scraper, not because it wasn't working. So, note to self, or anybody that's got that algae scraper, just keep in mind that if you let them come together, they're really going to stick. So, don't do that. Learn from me, from my mistake. Alright, well, let me finish getting most of this stuff. Seems like I got most of that that algae there. Let me use my sponge to try to wipe down whatever I might have missed. And then we'll go ahead and start doing the water change. And I got to figure out how to remove a lot of the debris because the siphon that I have in there, it's more, I don't do gravel backs, but because I've been scraping a lot of the driftwood, it's got little shavings that are kind of accumulated in the bottom of the aquarium by the gravel. So I got to be able to remove that. I mean, I could let it break down and become part of the system, but it's just aesthetics. It's not, I don't feel like it's going to do anything harsh or counterproductive for the aquarium. It does, because it is breaking down, you're going to have excess nutrients, but I don't know, I'm just going to do it more for aesthetic purposes than anything else, try to remove that stuff. If this was my house, I'd just let it break down and become part of the system. So, I think I've got most of it. I'll just do this side over here in case something that I might have missed. It looks like the pearl weed and the Sagittarius is really starting to take off now. Trying to carpet this whole area in here. I can probably trim back on some of the pearl weed so that it starts carpeting, stays down low. So we'll see if I do some of that. Yeah, this is where that magnet comes in real handy because it gives me access to these hard to reach areas, because you're kind of trying to extend your arm in between the driftwood, which can make it a little bit difficult. So that should be good enough. All right, let me go ahead and set up the siphon for this, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. So let me go ahead and pause this for a second. All right, here you can see I'm about, I guess, quarter of the way down for the water change. Still starting to clear up a little bit more. It's still got some way to go. I think I'm gonna, once it gets down to where the siphon can't reach out anymore, I'll refill it and do about a quarter water change on this and call it good. But it's looking a little bit better. Hopefully by the time I leave, it'll be much clearer, and it'll start looking much better. I also trimmed some of the Vallisneria out. I cut back some of this so that it wasn't laying over the top, and you know, that's just kind of what I've been doing with it. I managed to remove a lot of the algae that was growing on the branches, but it still has a long ways to go. It's something that I'm going to have to continuously keep on maintenance. The fish are still looking very good. You know, I got the panda cories down here. I know there's some German blue rams that I saw earlier. I don't know if I'll catch them on camera again. And I thought I saw some albino crevenses in here, but I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully I'll be able to catch them before the end of the day, and see if you guys can help me identify them. But I swear they look like crevenses. I didn't think I had gotten crevenses, but I guess in that group, some of them were in there, and they're albino type. So we'll see. Just kind of wanted to show you the progression of this, and till you guys see what's going on. I'll show you the after once I'm done. All right, as you guys can see, it's starting to look a little bit better. I mean, it still has some work to be done, but I think for today, I was able to accomplish a lot of what I wanted to do. You can see a lot of that hair algae that was on those. There's still some blackbeard algae on some of these little limbs, but it's just going to take some time of coming in and scraping that wood to try to remove some of that. I think more frequent water changes is going to address some of that issues. And but overall, I think it's looking much better. Right now, the diamond tetras seem to be pretty lit up with the water change. They're really enjoying that. You can see some of the German blue rams that are in there. You know, these guys in general are looking pretty good. We'll continue to do the maintenance on these guys. You guys can see it from this side. I mean, there's still some algae on some of these plants, but it's just going to take some work to be able to do that and get that to the point where it's going to be where I want it to be. But I just have to commit a little bit more and try to be able to get out here as much as possible. And you know, obviously with this enriched soil, it's a whole different experience than what I'm used to doing as far as the treatment of these aquariums. So, you know, hopefully this will continue to look better, and that'll be it. Oop, had a little kid walk in front of me. So that's pretty much an update on it. Let me step back where I don't trip so you guys can get a full view of it. I'm filling it up now, and hopefully I don't let it get neglected. Next time I come in here, I'm going to start trimming back some of that pearlweed that's in there. It's starting to, I don't know which one's overtaking which, but I need to address that issue. The vow is just taking over the entire tank, which I kind of suspected that, and I think it's going to start choking out some of the pennywort that's back there. There was some hygrophilia in the back, but that's, I don't know if that's going to manage to stay in there. I can just see a couple of leaves in the background. I don't know if you can make them out, but I think the valve is just going to take over. But I don't want to pull it because I'm fighting excess nutrients, and right now Jungle Val is my friend. It's crazy to see how these guys will play in the water current right now, because it's, you know, the beginning of summer. Our water on the tap is running a little bit hotter than normal, and they're kind of enjoying that hot, cooler stream of water into the aquarium. But that's the update. As far as that algae scraper, yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. It worked really good, as expected. And for the price, it's, you know, you can't beat it. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you guys for joining me for another video. And I know I said I wasn't going to do any more stuff on the fish tank for the children's aquarium, but because it was a product review for them, you know, on that algae scraper, I figured, you know, I kind of give you an update on what it's looking like, and also what are my thoughts on that product. So, would I buy it? Hell yeah. I mean, it's a quarter of the price of what I paid for that flipper, and it does the same job. So, you know, to each their own. But other than that, you guys take care and take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.